90-Day Fiancé. Prior to the 90 Days star, Vanja Grbic most likely had the worst luck in Season 7, and I feel bad for her and Josko Luketin because of what transpired just after Božo Vrdoljak turned her down. Vanja is a Florida career lady who has achieved success. In addition to being a vegan baker and a permanent makeup artist with a specialty in areola tattoos for breast cancer survivors, Vanja, a medical sales representative by trade, also works with confidence as a belly dancer. Vanya's resume impressed me so much that I was confident she would meet a man who appreciated her. Unfortunately, Vanja chose two of the most repulsive males in Season 7 thus far. As she took flight after flight to meet Božo, Vanja didn't give the idea of him ghosting her any thought. Vanja had fallen deeply in love with Božo, who declared his love for her, made her traverse the world, and then turned his back on her. He started downplaying all of his kind remarks and good words to her after they first met. Vanja ought to have learned her lesson and avoided dating for a time, but Josko, the larger bad guy, entered the picture. Vanya's former fiancé betrayed her. During her introduction, I heard Vanja talk about her traumatic history. Life was cruel to Vanja when it came to dating and relationships, despite the fact that she was exceptionally self-assured and the Jill of all trades. I learned everything I needed to know about Vanya's behavior in her relationships from the way she talked about her background. She appeared to have always been the giver, prioritizing her partner's needs over her own and holding someone who wasn't actively involved or invested in the relationship to unreasonable or high standards. Vanja had met the man she believed she would spend the rest of her life with 11 years prior. On the Great Wall of China, they even got engaged. Arguments broke out between Vanja and her ex. She was unable to determine what was happening. She visited his home one day and saw him making out with a girl on the couch. Vanja chuckled as she recalled the event, but I could feel the anguish in her eyes. She was a kind-hearted person whose heart had been crushed by the man she had hoped to live out her days with. Vanya's early years were difficult. The man had been leading a parallel life all along, thus the entire relationship was a sham. Vanya's birthplace is Eastern Europe. She realized she and Božo had something in common. She felt at home with him. Although Vanja had a lovely upbringing in Bosnia, the war broke out when she was 10 years old. She was never able to return home after seeing the sky light up with missiles when she was out visiting her grandparents. For a year, Vanja lived without electricity or water. She lived off on a combination of onions and flour. How Vanja managed to say, "I was killed on a couple of occasions," during the interview without burst into tears is beyond me. Vanja deserves to be happy as an adult because she endured such severe trauma as a child, but the 90-Day Fiancé star has not had a good life. She thought that Božo could relate to the wounds she carried since she knew that his family in Croatia had been impacted by the war, just like everyone else in the old Yugoslavia.